I was wrong about these cryptos. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil. We keep technical analysis short and sweet. So we're looking at Bitcoin and we see that it did break this trend line and had that major push down. A lot of people are freaking out. A lot of people are getting liquidated. A lot of people have leverage plays because they believe Bitcoin was going to push up, as I did as well. However, it broke downwards. I believe some guy found like a couple $1 billion worth of Bitcoin sold off. However, we are building up. We want to see support on this trend line. Also through the CM Guppy would be nice to see, but I don't believe it is going to go below 108,000. Keeping in mind the 618 retracement on the Fibonacci is around 107, and then the next stop is 103. But we would like to see some support within this area. Moving on over to Tornado, as I've been talking about for a long time, broke that 111 or the $11 mark and then pushed up to 13. Currently at $12. It's not too late to get in. It's very stable, very steady, and it is not financial advice. Moving on over to QNT. People who are holding QNT bags are probably stressing out once again, as we did try and hold a higher high here around 133, where a lot of people sold off, pushing it back into the 117. We had a second opportunity to get out at 132, however it did not hold above this previous high, and we saw that immediate sell-off back down to 106. 200 EMA is lining up with this upward support trend line, so we may see some support in this area. However, if we do drop lower, do not panic. If you don't believe in the coin well enough to hold it through its downsides, then you probably shouldn't be in it for the upside. But looking at this, again, 618 is around the $89, $90 level where we had that support previously. So that is suggesting that even though if it breaks below this trend line and the 200 EMA, we may see a lower of around $90. And then beyond that is this downward trend line, which is at $66 and hopefully holding support at 64. However, I believe if we do not push up within this area, that we will be turning around at the 618 around the $90, depending on how far Bitcoin goes down. But I believe we are going to start seeing a quick retracement here with Bitcoin getting support off this upward trend line and holding above 108. Moving on to BNT, similar thing to QNT, had that double top right here and right here, pushing it downwards towards the downward trend line, is trying to break out. The RSI is in the little bit oversold area. However, let's do a quick Fibonacci on the retracement. And 618 is right at this orange bar at 63 cents. We are still in profit from the previous entry, all the way down here at 35 cents if you've been sticking along with the videos. Moving on to DNT, full retracement after like a 34% pump. Got rejected, is now underneath the 200 EMA. We want to see a hold support on that 2.5 cent mark. Same with Doge. We thought Doge was going to hold a little bit more support at 21 cents. However, we are continuing the push down for Doge. And let's check the Fibonacci from the bottom to the top. And now we are here at the 618 area, building a little bit more volume, a little bit more buyers within the 19 cent. The next stop would be 17 cents if it has a continuation downwards. GRT pulling back as well, finishing out the inverse head and shoulders. We can expect some support back at the beginning at 0.7 cents. It has a continuation downward. However, if it does not, we are pulling back up to the 0.106 and testing that 200 EMA again before potentially pushing up to the 20 cent mark. I'm going to try and get them all in here. So we're moving on to XRP. XRP pulling back. A lot of people panic selling. Also, same thing, if you don't believe in XRP, you shouldn't be holding a bag. potentially moving back down to that opportunity of 2.64. And this is why I say dollar cost your average your XRP, because we may have the opportunity even back here at 2.3 if Bitcoin pushes back, which would be testing off that 200 EMA before ultimately skyrocketing past 3.6 once more. Moving into XLM, most likely following XRP, similar formation, downward bull flag. Could see a continuation, even potential 0.31 if Bitcoin pushes further. If not, we may see this bounce back up, touch this downward trend line, and push back up to the 52 cents. For refreshing your memory, this is what bull flags look like. Moving on over to XCN. XCN still playing its long game because it had that 2,000% pump. We can expect a cup and handle to be forming out. When you see these quick pushes up, they usually have consolidation and retracement to make the level playing field. We are completely starting to get into the oversold area, getting a little bit more support. We're right at that 200 EMA once more, and it is wicking off, so it does look like it could be potentially selling downward still, which we'd be looking for support on this downward trend line, which is around the 0.009 area if you're looking to pick up a bigger bag. However, if we do start getting a little bit more support, this could be pushing right back into the 0.017 area, and the 618 being up here at 0.02 cents once more. XCN, I've been stacking XCN and XRP as they are potentially going to be one of the bigger potential ROIs here in the near future. XYO, long game play, still filling out its cup and handle. you have a long opportunity to get into XYO before it takes off. So that's just all I'm going to say on that. Potentially holding support on this upward trend line. Spell, meme coin, not much to say. Wait for it to build and get a little bit more support. In between here and the 200 EMA, once you get over that 200 EMA, there's a better opportunity to look for a potential buy. Compound all the way back at the entry once again, and we need to hold support right in this area, which it's looked like it's trying to hold some support within this area, but this is a stronger support zone than some of the other ones we've been looking at before pushing up back over this 200 EMA and ultimately taking off. That's it for this video. Like and subscribe if you want. All references in the description below. Free airdrops with grass, doing that next month. Coinbase, KuCoin, MEXC, all that good stuff. Good luck. Have fun with it. I will see you guys on the next one.